I need your help. I'm trying to, I mean, it seems like I've joined this, but I don't understand why I can't see anything.
Hey, you guys, how are you?
Like, is it showing my face?
Yeah, I haven't seen you in forever, I feel like.
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
All right, we're just going to give everyone a minute to get on. What time is it? 8:30. We'll probably go ahead and go in like 2 minutes. All right, you guys. So it seems like a lot of us are on, and Jillian is also on. So we are going to go ahead and get started. This is being recorded, so if you have to jump off at all, or if you have coaches who are not able to get on, just let me know. But Jillian is going to be our guest speaker tonight. She has a full-time high-level job. It's a 9 to 5 at a Fortune 10 company. She's been coaching since June 2014. She's a 2-time elite coach, 5-star diamond coach, new mom, wife, and a trauma survivor. And it's kind of interesting because I was talking to her and she was telling me about kind of her journey that she's been on lately. And in the round table, they had posted a video and there was this girl working out in her hospital bed. And I remember how emotional it was watching this video. Her coach, I think it was your coach that shared it, right?
No, someone like way up in my upline, but not my direct coach.
And so they showed this video of her, and I didn't know her at the time or know anything about her. And I was a brand new coach to the round table, but she was literally like lifting her weights in her hospital bed. And I was thinking, like, this girl is truly amazing, because most people go through something like that, and we go through a lot of things in life where I think it's easy to just like give up on the stuff that is important to us. And she definitely did not. So I'm going to go ahead and give her the table. And then at the end, if you guys have questions, you can ask her. Up until then, I'm going to have everyone muted. If you have a question right then, just save it till the end so she can get all the information out for you guys.
Yeah, and you guys can post in the chat too. I won't look at it till the end, but just so you don't forget what you were going to ask. I'm going to share my screen, and I did send this over. So if you can't write fast enough, you will like have everything. It's in a PowerPoint. I think you guys can you can upload it to the group, right?
Yeah, she sent it to me. So when we get off the call, I will post it in the page.
Okay, so don't like freak out if you can't write fast enough. So I am a corporate person, so I do everything in PowerPoint because I present a lot to executives and stuff. So I'm a little bit type A like that. So I'm not really like a fly by the seat of my pants presenter. So I usually do a PowerPoint. So I'm going to talk about rocking your business while you work full time. I've had a full time job since I started. I have no desire to leave my full-time job, just in total transparency. I like what I do at my full-time job. I'm kind of a nerd, and I like what I do at Beachbody because it fulfills me in a different way. So I'm definitely not going to be leaving. When I started, I did not have a child. I had a child 12 weeks ago. So now I have a child, a full-time job, and Beachbody. And I've been able to balance all of it. And I'm going to teach you kind of like what I do. I truly only work my business, I'd say, between 10 and 15 hours a week, about an hour a day during the week. And I'd say a little bit more on the weekends. Now my time's a little crazy because of the baby, but I do a lot of power pockets instead of power hours. I'm going to share with you guys my story and my background. I know it was touched on a little bit, but I'm going to share with you kind of like where I started and where I came from, and then I'll go into the time management stuff. So I was overweight my whole life. I spent about 10 years yo-yo dieting, going up and down, and couldn't find anything that would stick. I became addicted to diet pills. I started binge eating. It was not a pretty scene. I actually tried P90X probably 6 years before I became a coach, and I completed it, and then I fell way off the bandwagon and went back to my old ways. And on the left, you'll sort of see my overall transformation. And on the right, that's 21 Day Fix Extreme with the Countdown to Competition plan. Just a little plug for that. If you're ever feeling stuck, I highly recommend that workout with that plan. It's kind of amazing if you're in a rut or hit a plateau. So this is really the only thing I've ever been able to do where I've been able to keep the weight off and feel better. And honestly, when I started for the reason that most people start. I wanted to fit in my skinny jeans. I wanted to look good. I wanted to feel better. I wanted to be comfortable, right? But my why has become a lot bigger than that because of things that have happened to me since I started this journey. And I'll never forget when I first became a 2-star coach, I met with my corporate mentor, who's not actually with Beachbody anymore. And he said to me, well, what's your why? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I like what I do, and I like helping people, and I want to be in shape. And he was like, I don't even know why you're successful. That's not a big enough why. But I truly believe that if you have the passion and you have the desire to do this, that you can. Yes, it's great for people that are bankrupt or want to leave their full-time job, or have to lose 400 pounds or they're gonna die or something like that. Big whys are great, but I don't want you to feel like if you don't have a massive why that you can't be successful. You can be if you work hard enough, right? If you put in the work and the time, you can be successful. I haven't wanted to leave my full-time job. I didn't need to lose 300 pounds. I didn't have a child I wanted to stay home with. I wasn't bankrupt, right? So I just really loved what I did and wanted to do more. And now I'm going to share with you kind of when everything changed for me. So I started in June 2014. I went to Summit in 2015. I had one coach with me. It was an awesome time. I ended 2015 as leading an elite team, which was huge. My first full year in the business, leading an elite team. And I went in 2016, and I remember in 2015, we slept on a friend's couch in Nashville. And in 2016, the hotels were so expensive. We couldn't even get a hotel room. They were $400 a night. And in 2016, I was able to rent a house for my entire team. I had a huge team with me. I was walking across stage as an elite, leading an elite team. It was amazing, right? That was at the end of June. And I got home, I think August 1st. And 10 days after I got home, that weekend-ish, I got an email saying I was chosen for the Core de Force test group, which if you guys know, test groups are this Beachbody mystery. No one knows how you get in them and what you have to do to get in them. So here I am, on top of the world, elite team Beachbody, test group, all this crazy stuff. Well, that morning, August 10th, I was walking across the street with my dog. I was just in a crosswalk, my normal morning walk, and I got hit by a car at full speed. I had emergency brain surgery to save my life. I shattered my pelvis, my face, my sternum, and my sacrum. And I'm going to share this stuff with you. They weren't sure if I would survive. They weren't sure if once I stabilized, they weren't sure if I'd ever walk again. And it totally changed my why and why I do this. And I know that being healthy and fit saved my life 100%. And if I had survived and I wasn't fit and healthy, I don't think I ever would have walked again. And I will tell you, 3 months after my accident, you can see the transformation on the right. That's my core to force results. And you can actually see that picture in the middle, that thing on my pelvis. It was actually drilled through my skin into my pelvic bones. It's called an external fixator if anyone's in medical stuff, but you can see the scars in the picture on the right. And like truly a miracle, like totally, I'm like one of those stories that you hear about. Like I've been on the news, like I'm going to the state house to fight a bill on distracted driving. Like I'm one of those stories that, you know, people only hear about and don't know about. And I will tell you guys, I went in for my final pelvic x-ray last January after the fixator came out, and I was seeing my orthopedic surgeon just to see how everything was going. And she was like, I'm really sorry, we can't x-ray you because you're pregnant. And I was like, just totally beside myself. I had miscarriage and infertility before the accident. So then after I'd crushed my pelvis into my uterus, I didn't necessarily think that pregnancy was in the cards for me. So I, 12 weeks ago, delivered a very healthy baby girl. I had no pain during my pregnancy in my previously shattered pelvis. I had a very easy pregnancy. And yes, I am lucky, but I also know that taking care of myself totally could have totally changed my future if I didn't take care of myself, right? And I say this all the time. I have big respect for everyone in network marketing that sells bags and makeup and I don't know what else, candles. But we have the ability to actually change and save lives. And that's been my message since my accident. And yes, skinny jeans are great. I'm definitely not on my skinny jeans yet postpartum, but we're so much more than that. So I want you guys to really remember that. And this is a time in my Beachbody career where I could have just given up and no one would have blamed me. Like this is the ultimate excuse. Like I'm like half dying. I was in the hospital for a month. And I didn't, because I knew that I could help more people, right? I knew that I could use this and say, like, maybe there's someone else out there that needs me, that needs this hope. And I get messages all the time from people that, I'm not talking about customers, just random people. Like, I got up today and I went for a walk because of you, because I attract a lot of trauma survivors now, right? Same thing. Like, I, stood up out of my wheelchair because I watched you work out today, something like that. And that is why I do what I do. So that's a little bit about me and my background. I'm going to get into the meat of this call. And I will tell you that the way that I see these are related is that when I had my accident, I knew exactly what I needed to do to keep moving my business forward because I had this plan. When you don't have a plan and things go haywire, it's really hard to keep moving forward because you're like, I don't even know where to start. Well, this is what I do every day. So I'm going to share this with you guys. And like I said, it's a lot, but I promise I sent it over so you have it. So I do my power hour every day. And I don't ever waver from that. That's just the reality. I always do it. Sometimes it's, 6-10 minute pockets, and sometimes it's a full hour at a time. It's what I can fit in. Some people need to schedule it. That doesn't work for me. I just fit it in when I can, but I know this is what I have to do. So I write out my to-do list. I write out my goals for the week, and I follow my to-do list daily. I read or listen to personal development every day. If you don't have time to sit down and read a book, get it on Audible, listen to it in the car while you're walking your dogs, even mute the sound on your workout, listen to it while you're cooking dinner, whatever. I work on me and I lead by example. So what I mean by that is that I definitely lead my team, but I'm not big into like telling them, what to do and that sort of stuff. I'd rather show them what's working for me. The best thing you can do for your team is be doing the behaviors that you want them to be doing, right? So if I have a post that was like amazing, I'm going to share it in my team page. Hey, this is working really well for me. take it and make it your own. That's the best thing I can do for them, instead of just like telling them what to do, is showing them what to do, right? I'd say even as a 5-star coach, I spend 90 to 95% of my time on myself, because the best thing I can do is share that with my team. I have the right mindset and intentions. I want to help people without expecting anything in return. And I'm going to share with you a little bit more about that on the next slide. And then no excuses and no complaining. And I know this sounds like really cliche, but if you look at all the top coaches, they're all different. Men, women, mothers, not mothers, dads, not dads. Some of them, still work. Some of them don't, whatever. But the one thing you'll notice about them is that they don't make an excuse. If something doesn't work for them, they try and fix it instead of being like, oh, well, that didn't work because, and blame it on something else. You've got to and start being solution oriented instead of excuse oriented. So what do I do every day? I add people to my network. You can do this 3 to 5 a day or 20 in bulk, whatever works for you. I start connecting with them. I build relationships. I return all of my messages. I share twice a day. I talk to people about the business, Shakeology, my challenge group, whatever I have going on. And I always have something going on, which I'll share on my calendar on the next page. I invite people to my next challenge group. And I keep really, really focused in this. So I only have one challenge group starting at a time, which makes my invite really intentional. And like I said, I'll show you my calendar so you can see what I'm talking about. I follow up with people. I make a to-do list for tomorrow, which pretty much is the same thing as I did probably the day before, but maybe I have to follow up with different people. I post on my team page. I'm very spastic about this. Like I said, sometimes it's something that's working for me. Sometimes something that's not working for me. I'm like, guys, it's a bad idea. Don't do this, right? But I just post in there as I see fit. I post on Facebook and Instagram at least 2 times a day. So if that's not your platforms, I would pick 2 platforms that you're really going to concentrate on. Maybe it's Pinterest, maybe it's YouTube, whatever it is, and make sure you're on there at least twice a day. I put the business in front of 3 to 5 people a week. Maybe not necessarily like pitching them, but talking to them about the business. And this is what I do every day, every day, every day, every day. It's not glamorous. But I will tell you that this is the stuff that's going to get you to those glamorous parties, to all those big goals. And I do take breaks, but just like I do in my corporate job, I schedule my vacation. So for example, when I went on the Beachbody cruise in 2016, that was my first Success Club trip. And I made the decision I was going to turn off my phone. I literally carried around an old school camera, okay? Because I didn't even turn on my phone for the camera. And I was like the only one not with my phone, but I told my followers I'm going off the grid for the week. And I scheduled my vacation, and people totally respect that. So I'm not saying you can never take a break, but maybe you take every Sunday off. Let your followers know that, right? Or maybe you're going on vacation and you're going to, unplug, which I think is super important. Let your followers know that. But what you can't do is like randomly, on a Wednesday, be like, forget it, I'm not doing anything. And you're going to be like, oh, it's just one day. But I can tell you that one day is going to make a difference. Just like in your workouts, when you don't want to do it is when you see the most results, right? Same with this. So keep that in mind. So this is an example of a calendar. It's old, but I always like to kind of show people what my month looks like. So I start every single month with a free group. And just so you know, I only have 2 groups. I just run challenges in the groups 1 week of the month, if that makes sense. So I have an open free group community, and the first Monday of every month, I run a week-long challenge in there. And everyone who's already in there participates, and I invite new people to join me. And that then allows me to look at who's participating and who I think might make a good challenger, might want to invest in themselves. And then I can invite them to my challenge group, which starts the next Monday, right? So this one was called Rev Up Your Resolution, which was for people that maybe started in January and didn't get anywhere. And so they need help, right? So I'm going to then have a funnel of people from my free group to invite to my challenge group. And then from there, this was President's Day, so we did it on a Tuesday, but I'm going to run a sneak peek into coaching group, and I'm going to look at who in my challenge group is being active and who I'd like to invite to my coaching group. I'll tell you, I don't invite everyone. I invite who I think would make a good coach. And I'm going to do that. So this allows me to be posting really intentionally and inviting really intentionally. So the week before my free group, I'm posting all about my free group. I'm breadcrumbing about my free group. I'm probably breadcrumbing all week. And then I'm doing 2, calls to action throughout the week. And then my free group starts. And then I'm breadcrumbing my challenge group and doing 2 calls to action. And then my challenge group starts. Breadcrumbing the coaching opportunity and doing 2 calls to action. And I start over. And what this does is allows me to hit Success Club really early in the month, so I don't have to worry about it. And I can work on helping my coaches as needed and converting challengers to coaches. So this is what works for me. You don't obviously have to follow a schedule like this, but this is what I personally do. And this is every single month. This is what I do. I've started some months moving the sneak peek into coaching back to the last Monday, just so the challengers can kind of settle into the group for 2 weeks instead of 1. But whatever works for you. Okay, so inviting, super, super, super important, and probably I'd say the thing that people don't do enough of. But just start talking to people. Don't overthink it, right? So a really good idea is a compliment, comment, question conversation. Like, I love that blue shirt. It looks great on you. Where did you get it? Really not that difficult, right? And connect with people you want to talk to, because it's going to make it so much easier. Like, if you hate yoga, don't talk to a bunch of people about yoga, because it's not going to be comfortable for you. But if you love to make cupcakes, find other people who love to make cupcakes and start talking to them about that, because you're going to find the people that you want to attract more by that. And it's going to make this business a lot more fun for you than if you're struggling and trying to attract people that aren't really part of your tribe. General questions, more personal questions. Have you considered, this is a big one, use their name. Hun, babe, sweetie, all cute. But people, I think, with all the network marketers out there, automatically think that's it's a tip off that you're just copying and pasting a message, right? So use their name. On Instagram, it takes an extra 5 seconds to figure out their name. Take that 5 seconds and figure it out. That's my advice. How long have you been into? Would you rather blank or blank? Ask questions and get them to respond, and then you can build the relationship. And sometimes you don't actually even have to invite them. Just reaching out to them lets them know that you're there, and then they feel comfortable coming to you and talking to you about whatever it is that they want to talk to you about with health and fitness. We have to realize that, like I said, we're not selling purses or makeup or jewelry, and more power to the people that do that. There's nothing wrong with that, but people are embarrassed to say, I need to lose weight, I need help, I'm struggling. That's hard for people. So we have to realize that as coaches, that we have to invite, because the reality is people are embarrassed to come to us. They're not embarrassed to be like, oh, I'd like to buy that, polka dot purse. That's not embarrassing for them. But it's embarrassing to say they're overweight and they're uncomfortable and they need help. That's hard. So our job is to make them feel comfortable and make them realize that we are actually going to help them. So keep that in mind. And that's the other thing that my free group does, is it allows people to see that they don't have to pay any money and I'm still going to be able to help them, right? And that once they do purchase something, I'm not going to disappear. So keep that in mind. Okay, social media planner. So I do best, I'd say, Sunday night through Thursday night. And that's when I post the most of my meat. I still post on Friday and Saturday, but I'm not going to do big calls to actions those days. Just some little ideas for you if you're struggling with what to post. Like I said, you have this all written out, so don't scramble to write it. Okay, my top 5 time management tips. So have a plan and stick to it. It is great when someone posts something like, oh, the crockpot challenge, and you're like, oh, I want to do that next week, but you have something else planned. Reach out to that person and be like, hey, can I have your template for the crockpot challenge, and run it next month? Put it on your calendar for next month. what I found in the beginning was I was in all these different coaching groups, right? My upline, her upline, her upline, and everyone was doing all these different challenges. And I was like so confused, and I got this like squirrel thing in my head. But now I can stay really focused in what I'm doing, and people will share with you. Like they'll be like, sure, yeah, here's my crockpot template. And maybe you send them your, I don't know, your template from your, I don't know, your soup group, or I don't know, whatever, in exchange, so that you can kind of like, help them out too. Do it every day, every day, every day, every day. Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. Put the necessary before the fun. So if you love, making collages, don't do that before you do what you have to actually do, maybe inviting, or your PD if you don't like, whatever it is, you've got to make sure that you do what you have to do before you do the fun stuff. And on that same note, you need to maybe outsource some stuff that you're not good at. So I cannot make flyers. I am an engineer. I do math. My flyers look like my dog did them, and they take me about 7 hours to do. And that's not an exaggeration. I stopped doing them. I don't do flyers anymore. You can use websites if you want to, like Fiverr, Fiverr. People do stuff for $5 on there, like make a flyer or do a collage for you, whatever. Or you just don't do them because it's not worth it and it looks like your dog did it. Okay. So if you're not good at stuff and it's not one of the vital behaviors, don't do it and don't kill yourself. Take your hardships and turn them into success. So I'm not saying that everyone, needs to have like a life altering, like event the way I did, but what you're going through, and you're going through something, someone else is going through it too. Maybe you're struggling with your children, or your 9 to 5, or some health issue, or, an injury, whatever. You've got to like share about that openly. And not only will it benefit your audience, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be therapeutic for you. When I was sitting in a hospital bed 24 hours a day, because literally, you guys, I was wheelchair bound for 2 months. I wasn't even allowed to stand up. I was allowed to pivot in and out of my wheelchair on my left foot so I could like go to the bathroom. And I wasn't allowed to do that for like a week. So, I needed like a purpose, and I needed something to do, and like being able to openly share. I'm sure it helped a lot of people, but it also helped me, and it helped me cope, and it helped me give me like I said, a purpose and something that I didn't just feel like, a loser in a hospital bed. I was in a rehab hospital for a month, and everyone in the rehab hospital is like 80 years old. Okay. And I'm not 80. And it was mentally one of the hardest things I've ever done. I had sent my husband back to work. And I was alone all day, but I felt like I wasn't alone because I was able to share, and I was able to create this platform. So keep that in mind. I know that it's often hard, and you don't need to like, just spew your guts everywhere. There was a call that Ashley Molstad did. I think it was in February, and she talked about releasing her gremlins. It was a national wake-up call. I highly recommend listening to it because it helps like sort of piece together your story and share your hardships in a positive way. And the last thing I'm going to say is stop scrolling. If you're scrolling on Facebook for 5 hours, you're not actually working. And if you're looking for inspiration, go read some personal development and stop like looking for everyone else to inspire you. Okay. So I'm giving you a little assignment. It's almost January. So what does your calendar look like for next month? What are you going to be inviting to? So every single week, you know what you're inviting to. It's much easier when you have a plan in place and you can like invite people to specific things. And then start reaching out, start talking to people, start thinking about who you want to invite, and really start, getting on a trajectory to make 2018 amazing. I will tell you, these next, 10 days are going to be super important, because are a lot of people going to commit in the next 10 days? Probably not. But you want to be top of their mind when January 1st hits and they all want to commit and you can't keep up with your messages. I tell my team, you have to work super hard in December for probably not a lot of results. But you're going to see major results come January 1st. And it's super awesome that corporate is spanning this 80-day obsession sale and test group thing over 2 months so that we can really take advantage of that, which is great. So that's all I have. And I'm happy to take questions. I don't know if anyone had any, but whatever you guys need. Anyone? Everyone's on mute.
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
I'm Ashley. So I work in the medical field. I'm in my surgical residency right now. And I think the biggest thing that I'm having difficulty with is being comfortable posting when I'm friends with a lot of attendings and other doctors in the field. So is there any advice?
Yeah, so what you can do, and this is what you can, do you know how to like group people on your Facebook?
No.
Okay, so you can create a group and you can call it like work or something. And you can, let me just walk you through the steps. Hold on. Let me pull up someone. So you can go to someone's profile, and where it says, if you're mobile, where it says friends and has a little check mark, you click on that and it will say edit friends list. Do you see that? Yes, no, maybe. She freeze? Yeah, okay. Well, you can click on that and click edit friends list and put them in a group, and then you can restrict posts to friends except that group so they can't see it. Or you just aren't friends with them, or you just don't care. But I post before work, at lunch, and after work, and I make my post public, but I didn't in the beginning because I was the same way. I wasn't comfortable. But now that I kind of like know what I'm going to be posting, I'm okay with it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
And with your work schedule, are you splitting up your power hour during the day, or you do your power hour in the morning and your workout at night, or does it change day to day?
I work out in the morning. That's like the first thing that I do, and I'm not a morning person at all. And my power hour totally changes. Like sometimes I can take a lunch and rock my power hour, and sometimes I can't. I'll tell you, I just went back to work last week from the baby, and I actually feel more scheduled than I did. I don't know if anyone here has ever had a newborn, but there's no schedule. Like it's just everything's on demand. So like, you know, if she would sleep for 10 minutes, I could do 10 minutes of work. Did I want to do 10 minutes of work when she was sleeping? No, not really. But, you know, I'm able to move my business forward. Like, I've been well over Success Club 20, September, October, November, and now we're into December, like with a newborn. And I know that it's just doing the work. And there's certainly things that I keep private. Like, for example, when I went into labor, I made the decision I wasn't going to tell anyone. Like, I didn't want people like messaging me and like, oh, what's going on? And I just didn't want to share that with my audience. That was just like my personal choice. And so I'm such a freak. I had like all these posts that I had like not scheduled, but like in a note so that when I went into labor, I could like post them and not, because if I wasn't posting, people would be like, what happened to her? She must be in labor. So throw people off. And then I was able to do the announcement. So like, if you feel like there's stuff you don't want to share, then don't share it. Like just, you know, I totally like for me, I just wanted to stay private on that. So let's see, what do we have in the chat? Meal prep, time to post, time to work out. So my workouts are in the morning. My meal prep is spastic. Oftentimes I'll just make like a lot of extra dinner or throw stuff in the crock pot. Like last night I crock potted a bunch of chicken and roasted tons of veggies, like sheets of them, and sweet potatoes. Time to post. So I post before work, at lunch, and after work. And I usually have my posts in notes ready to go so I can just copy paste and let them roll. Now you can actually schedule them though on your personal page, which is cool. Time to work on my challenge group. So basically in my challenge group and my free group, I share what I'm doing with them, or I grab, I keep everything in Google Docs, and when stuff is shared, I throw it in Google Docs so that I can run a water challenge and all the posts are pretty much written out for me, and I just change them a little bit for me and schedule them to go, and I don't have to think about it. Don't reinvent the wheel. Like, there's so much out there that we can just use and have. Do you guys know about the Beachbody, like the challenge group guides that they give us? Does anyone use those? Yes, no, maybe. No, okay. I'll post the link. I use that all the time. What is it? It's like for specific programs, but like I know I'm going to run a Little Obsessed, and so I'm going to use that as the guide. That's great. I would definitely bookmark that. Seriously, don't reinvent the wheel. A lot of, like, I tell my coaches that all the time. Like, that's why I don't open and close groups anymore. I don't create new groups. I just don't. Don't overthink it, I guess.
And are you planning out all of your posts the night before?
Usually.
Okay.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about it the next day.
Exactly.
So do you type out, so for instance, like if your workout is going to be one of your posts for that day, are you typing out like your workout stuff first and then you just add the picture in?
Yeah, usually. Like I have and sometimes like I'll just throw a bunch of stuff in notes that like I have 89 notes right now of stuff that I've like thought of that I want to post about. So if I'm ever stuck one day or I didn't have time or whatever, I can just go into my notes and grab one. Like I posted something tonight about like how all these diets are making my head spin. And it was something, I had nothing. I was like, oh my God, I didn't plan anything for tonight. And I just went into my notes and grabbed one and copy and pasted it and threw it up. But so this is the week where I'm going to be talking about my like coaching. And so I did like a soft invite yesterday. This morning I did a breadcrumb, like about like, you have to go after your dreams sort of thing. And then I'll breadcrumb again tomorrow, and then I'll probably do another call to action on Thursday and breadcrumb again Friday. Like I just like keep kind of, and I try to do like a financial breadcrumb. I try to do like a, mindset breadcrumb, a physical breadcrumb, like stuff that coaching has done for me, so that people can kind of piece it together. How do you plan your post during your power hour? Wow, 50 messages. That's amazing. I don't get that many messages. So if you have 50 people that want to join your challenge group, you're doing something right. The max I ever have when I wake up in the mornings, like 10. But one thing that you can do is not like get through your 50 messages and then like don't respond to someone and wait for them to respond. You know what I mean? Like get through your 50 messages and then like make a commitment to come back to it at the end of your hour or whatever. I guess my answer is I don't have 50 messages at a time. So I don't lack for time in what I'm going to post. And I get a lot of inspiration from what I'm reading or what I'm listening to. And I get a lot from the national wake up calls, honestly. Someone will say something and I'll be like writing it down on my phone. I'll be like, I'm going to post about this. And then I'll just come up with something. And I'm a terrible writer. So I just do the best I can. Anything else?
With having a full-time job and knowing you want to stay at your full-time job, or when you goal set, do you set like rank goals, success club goals, income goals, or are your goals more just focusing on your journey and to help people?
So that's an interesting question. I feel like I used to set a lot of rank goals, but I'm more of like a fly under the radar kind of girl, and I don't like to be like flashy or center of attention. So like I'm kind of cool like being a 5-star coach, and like, I make basically a secondary full-time income, which is amazing to me for what I do. My goal is really to have the more joy I have in this business, the better that I do and the better coach that I am. And so that's really my goal, is to like find my joy in this business. And you know, I want to also help my team reach their goals. That's like a huge goal of mine, is to help my team reach their goals. Because I feel like if my team can reach their goals, I can very easily reach my goal. You know what I mean? Like it's a reciprocal relationship. So that's really a big part of my goals too, is to help them reach their goals. But I do dream board, and there is stuff that, you know, I put down. Admittedly this year, like I didn't do it. Like I was like, ooh, I didn't die last year. So like that was great for me. And then I got pregnant and things got crazy. But that's probably why I didn't really advance my business that much this year. So that's a good point. Like I need to do better. I need to definitely be better about writing stuff down.
And you guys, just as like a little side note, with her full-time job, I had seen in one of the posts, she had bought a brand new car and was able to pay cash for it and got all of the little extra things that they wanted to get with, you know, once they were having their daughter.
Yeah, it was like a huge, so we had swore we wouldn't get a new car. We were like, we don't need a bigger car. And then we had the kid, and I was like, this kid has so much stuff. Like, why does this little person have so much? And I couldn't, like, I just didn't have room. We have 2 dogs too. So, and we were able to just go out to the dealership and get the car we wanted and pay cash, which is like crazy. So it's really nice, like, to kind of take that burden off of us, if you will. It's definitely, you know, useful, save for our future. But I love what I do, and I stay-at-home mom life is not for me. And so I plan to continue my 9 to 5.
And so for those of you guys that are working full-time and you're like, oh, well, I can't ever do this, she is someone who is literally has done that and built secondary income for her family to help with all the extra side stuff, but also doing it just in the cracks of her life with a busy schedule, being a mom, being a wife, having that full-time job that she loves, and not being able to devote, you know, 8 hours a day to this business. And it still can be very successful.
Yeah, someone asked about trackers. I use Streak. Anyone else use Streak? No? Anyone heard of it? Okay. It's a Google add-on. It's in Gmail. So like those little 9 dots in your corner of your Gmail, it's like Drive or anything like that. It's free. I'm all about free. I don't really pay for anything, to be honest. And I don't have to log into a secondary system. So like it makes it, that's how I save time too. I don't have to like upload my emails somewhere else. So all of my emails are sitting in Streak, and I have them, you know, and I can do mail merges. So I can send out like mailings. I do like a Fit Tip Friday every Friday, and I just send it all out, and then I publish it as a blog post. I reuse like everything. Like, okay, Facebook post, this would make a good blog post. This would make a good Fit Tip Friday. And then I don't have to do 500 different things. I think that people do way too much of that, like just so much busy work. It's crazy. But look into Streak, especially if you have Gmail. It's great. And like I said, it's free and really helps me. Like so has anyone used Teamsy? No. Okay. That's like a paid for service. And that's the other thing I feel like a lot of people use. And it's like more intuitive. Like it tells you when to reach out to people. Streak, like it'll tell you how many days they've been in that pipeline and like when to reach out to, like, and then you have to decide when to reach out to them. It doesn't like pop up that you have to reach out to them. But like I have a pipeline of people that have purchased, people that haven't, you know, people that haven't purchased, whatever. All my coaches, all my coaching prospects, that sort of stuff. People say to pretend. I mean, you have people, right? You have your husband and father-in-law. Like, that's not, I don't know. That's not pretending. I think that Emerald is definitely something to be proud of. I feel like I read somewhere like only 10% of coaches get to Emerald. Something like that. That's pretty decent. That's like the top 10% of the company, right? So I wouldn't feel like Emerald isn't, you know, that you don't have a team and Emerald isn't any, like, I don't know. I don't know how, maybe I'm reading that wrong. I don't know what Marissa is. Am I reading that wrong?
No, it's I think it's more just seeing other coaches having emerald and diamond status that have like their team that's like in it to win it, that are like success builders and business builders with them and have like the same vision. And I mean, my husband and father-in-law both are, they love the product. They love their shakes and they're committed to that. And then I'm nudging them to be more active coaches because I think that's what's inspiring, is like having people see it through them. But yeah,
And how long have you been a coach?
Since late July, so like August.
Oh, like, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, my first two coaches were my mom and my husband. Does that make you feel any better? And then I went from there. Like I just went all in. And my mom and husband were my +2, which means that they didn't even pay for their own stuff. I paid for it because you're allowed to do that. You can have U +2. So not only did I not have business builders, I didn't really even have discount coaches. I just had a lot of freaking product. So and you know what? I started in June also, and then has anyone seen the Emerald cost analysis? Anyone? Okay. I'll put this in the chat too. If anyone's not Emerald, you should need to read this. So I'm a math person and I read this and then I immediately signed up my mom and my husband. It's all about like free leads and that sort of stuff. And I actually sell there. Well, now my mom and my husband both drink theirs. Only took like 2 years, but you can sell like the sample packs of Shakeology and 7-day samplers for $35. So that's what I was doing with their product. And it helped me get challengers in because some people aren't ready to spend $160 right off the bat, but they'll spend $35 and then realize the huge difference. And then they'll spend $160. So that's how I kind of like started my business is those basics. But you can talk about your team and, you can, if you want to do like more recognition, maybe recognize your challengers and recognize what they're doing if you feel like you're not ready to recognize your team. Does that make sense? Does that help? I don't want you to like be down on yourself or feeling like you don't have a real coach or that because I feel like Emerald is great. Don't be down on yourself or don't feel like it's not enough. Yeah, I don't know where Jennifer is, but it's totally possible. It's totally possible, but it's throwing those excuses out of the window and saying like, like I'm going to do this no matter what. It has to, it has to be a priority. That is the reality. Like, yes, you can do it with all this stuff, but you also have to make it a priority. And sometimes maybe that means, you don't sit down and relax and watch TV at night. Maybe it means you're working. Like I worked all day. I came home, I put my baby to bed and I literally was done at like 8:20 and I came up here and spiffied up my presentation a little and sent it over. And that means tonight I'm not going to sit and watch TV. Like that's okay. But that's the choice that I've made. And like, that's the business I built. Do I regret a second of it? Do I feel like I've missed out on stuff? Not at all. Like, I mean, to build this business and have a secondary full-time income, putting in 10, 15 hours a week to me is just amazing. And I love what I do. So, but you can do it, but it has to be a priority for sure. And like, my priority is not brushing my hair. So like, you have to like, kind of put put what's important to you in front, you know? I would rather work on my business for 30 minutes than do my makeup. And that's just me personally. Like it's just you have to kind of think about what's important to you. And I like never Photoshop my pictures. I don't even really know how. Like I'm a total mess and that's fine. But my audience knows that. Like they know that I'm a total mess and they know that like if if I'm posting a picture, it's probably a hot mess. Anything else? And Marissa, have you run like a coaching sneak peek if you are looking to build your team?
Is it okay to talk via here and not type? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
I've shared the sneak peek that that Ashley Smith has shared. She's actually my coach. Like
Okay.
I don't know all the lingo, but so I shared that with a couple ladies, but I personally feel like it probably overwhelmed them, to be honest.
Okay, so maybe you run your own group. Maybe you grab a buddy from the call and be like, hey, does anyone want to run a sneak peek with me? And you run a sneak peek whenever you want.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Like you have to kind of like if you want to grow a team and be a leader, sometimes you have to like be a leader and do your own thing. You know, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to like work with Ashley in the beginning, but you're right. You've been a coach like almost 6 months. And so maybe it's time to like start doing what you want to do too, you know?
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love how transparent you are. It's awesome.
Yeah, no sugarcoating here. Sorry, guys, if you're looking for rainbows and butterflies.
Oh, no. Mama, too.
And you guys, that is true. As you're coaching, once you feel comfortable doing stuff on your own, you're allowed to. And something that I tell my coaches to do with the sneak peek, if you don't have video in the sneak peek, then invite people to the sneak peek, but then to ask them to get on a call with you and share your story so that they're not only learning about the videos, but they're also learning about you and your story, because sneak peeks can be super helpful. We have a lot of great information in there, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily getting to know you. So you have to make sure you're like, hey, I want to tell you about my story, and then I'll add you into the sneak peek. Or, hey, I'll call you after the sneak peek that night. That way they're getting to know you on that personal level and not just seeing a bunch of like strangers that they're not connecting with, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I tell my coaches all the time, I'm like, you guys need to be posting in the challenge groups because I open it up to my downline because your customers do not care at all about me. They join for you. So, and honestly, if you can get someone on the phone to talk about coaching, 95% of the time they're going to join you.
I get on the phone with like every single person, even though it's scary. If you get on the phone with them and you talk to them and they can hear it in your voice, why you love this business, why you love challenge groups, what it's doing for your life. It doesn't sound like a sales pitch. It's just you talking, and I don't use anything. It's not like a planned, like I have to say this, this, and this, but I just talk about why I love it. And then it's so natural. So it doesn't seem like it's staged at all. And they can ask you questions right then. It's always scary at first, but I think you have a lot more success getting on the phone than you do in just a message.
Yeah. And if you can't get on you guys use voice messages? I mean, I do, obviously. Do you guys use those? No? So if you're on your phone, does everyone know how to use them? Okay. Use those then. Anything else?
And Marissa, if I think you were the one who talked about being Emerald, but no matter where you're at in your business, even if you are not an Emerald coach yet, be proud of where you are at because you're starting a business. And even though it's easy to look at top coaches, it's easy to look at your upline or whoever and see where they're at in the business, you're at the same opportunity we all were. We all start from the same opportunity with wanting results, with wanting a better mindset and wanting to work on ourselves. And then it's up to us what we do with that business. So don't think that you have to be a certain rank or at a certain position to feel good about where you're at. If you're connecting with people every single day and you're improving your mindset and you're improving your health and your fitness journey, you're gonna feel good and you're not gonna worry about like the extra stuff on that side. That's just a label. And at the end of the day, to an outsider, they don't know what a 5-star coach is or just a coach or a 10-star coach. They don't know any of that stuff. They just know what you're presenting to them and who you're being.
Yeah, exactly. No one knows. And yeah, so.
Any more questions for Jillian? Yeah. All right. Well, if you guys think of anything, let us know. And thank you so much for getting on the call tonight and talking to everyone because
Yeah, of course. If you guys have any questions, just ping me too. I'm happy to answer anything that you guys have.
and one of the things I loved about Jillian is she really is just a down to earth, like you don't have to edit all your photos. You don't have to have all these perfect photos, but just be you and be that regular person. And you can do it. And you can do it with a full-time job, working part-time hours. If you do the things that you need to do, like your vital behaviors and stay consistent on it.
Consistency is, I say that all the time. Like that's a secret to my success. 100%. I totally believe that. It's just showing up all the time. I'm like, I'm still here. Bet you people didn't think I'd still be here 3.5 years later. Still here. So, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Thank you guys. If you think of anything else, you can message Jillian or you can message me and we will message her and ask her.
Yep. All right. Good night, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.